What's up, y'all? It's your girl Lauren, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back. If you've been here before, I'm glad that you're back, and if you haven't been here before, then welcome and thank you for joining us today. As you can tell by the title to this reaction, I'm going to be checking out Black Swan tonight, and it also says tonight, then goodbye RANIA. And so I know that RANIA was the last, and I don't know exactly how many there have been, if there have been any at all, but I know that RANIA was another group, another K-pop group, girl group, that debuted with a black member. And from what I know, I mean, I don't know much about them. I never really looked into them other than the fact that they existed. So that's really all I know. And then the black girl, I think her name was Alex or Alexa or something like that. But yeah, the only thing I really know about them is that they disbanded, and I don't think that they were really that popular, or maybe they were, like, I'm not really sure. I don't know if they had any songs or albums or whatnot. Again, never really checked them out. But it does say goodbye RANIA, so I'm assuming that that means that this is the same company that that put out RANIA, and for some reason they are now trying again. And I say to say some reason, there obviously had to be there obviously was a reason why they disbanded in the first place and it didn't work out, but there's also probably, assumably, another reason that they decided to continue to try this concept. And then on top of that, they also have a Brazilian member. So it's 3 Korean members, black, or I think she's Senegalese, and then a Brazilian member. And so this is all stuff that I know just from people in my comments asking me to react to this. So I know a couple of you are looking forward to this reaction. But yeah, I don't really know anything about them. Like, I saw a post that this group was going to be debuting maybe like a month ago. I just saw like a random post on Instagram, but that was the only thing I saw. So I was like, well, maybe that was just fake, like, because I didn't know like who posted it or whatever. So I just like, I wonder if that's real. But then people started, I think somebody had left a comment under one of my videos, and then I went and looked it up and realized that, oh, this is a real group and they're coming out with like a real debut. But other than that, I didn't look into like any of their information or any of their background or whatnot. So that's something I'll probably do after this, depending on how this reaction goes. But I am excited because I do think maybe I should save this until after the reaction because I don't want to go too far on a tangent. But I will say, I don't think that there's anything wrong with non-Korean members being in K-pop or K-pop groups. I.e., I mean, there have been, you know, Chinese and Japanese, Thai and Indonesian, and, you know, all these other Asian ethnicities or nationalities in K-pop groups. But because they are so kind of still sort of homogenous in a way, like just physically, because a lot of members you can't tell, like some you can, it's like, oh, I don't think that they're Korean, or, you know, this, or 100% this or that. But for the most part, you know, a lot of times you can't tell. Like when I find out some members are Chinese, or some members are Thai, or some members are Japanese, not every time I can be like, oh, they're not Korean, like, oh, they're Japanese for sure. Like, I mean, I wouldn't know. But with that being said, I'll go a little bit deeper into that afterwards because I do have some stuff to say about that. But let's just go ahead and get into this reaction because I know y'all have been waiting. So my brightness is up, volume is up. Okay. It says the following preview has been approved to Black Swan tonight by DR Music Korea. The film advertised has been rated all audiences. Some materials may not be suitable for children. Strong performance and song sexuality. Okay. We don't have any captions though. Oh, hey cleavage. Whoa. Starting off with a bang. Okay. Come through, girl. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, she's gorgeous. Okay, hold on. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I'm focused. Show them US bills. She got international money. Her bone structure is like insane. Like, come through eyes. Body snatched. Okay. They're all gorgeous. Yes, oh. Body snatched. I love this look. This look is great. They all have beautiful eyes too. Like, oh. Yo, this girl's cleavage is popping. Okay, so wait, I think I'm noticing something, but I'm gonna have to go back and check to make sure I'm not tripping. Before I say something incorrect. Okay, so she had her moment. Okay, that was cute, but hold on, because I do not. Okay, is this it right here? I just want to see something real quick. Is this the right? Oh yeah. Okay, so that was the part. So, and I don't know any of their names, so I'm gonna have to go with just descriptors or descriptives. But I would say, so the Brazilian girl, I heard during her part, her line or whatnot, I heard her verse and she was speaking Korean, it sounded like, for the most part. The black girl, or the Senegalese girl, it seemed like the only time she really said anything was when she said looking at me, and then she had her rap verse, which did have some Korean in it, I caught, but for the most part, I mean, it was short, but for the most part it was in English. And so that goes into, so first of all, let me just say, overall, I love the debut. You know, I can tell, of course, they're from a smaller company, so of course they have a smaller budget. But overall, I mean, the song was catchy. They looked cute. They had, you know, a good dance or a good choreography going on. So all in all, I mean, it was a good debut overall. And I very much do look forward to seeing what they give us in the future and what they bring forth. And hopefully they last longer than RANIA did. I would hope that they would have a longer, more extensive, more successful career, and discography and whatever else than RANIA did, because I do think that there should be diversity in K-pop, and I will tell you why. Because that brings me back to what I was saying earlier, where I do think it's good to have, and I'm not Korean, I no way in any shape or form contribute to the Korean music industry or Korean society. So my opinion and what I say don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But I will say, for me personally, and in my opinion, I do think it's good, and I do think it's okay for individuals who are not Korean, and honestly who are not Asian, to be in K-pop groups or to be in the K-pop industry. Now, with that being said, what does kind of put my panties in a bunch, if you will, or what does kind of irritate me or annoy me, is when groups say, hey, we're not from Korea, but we're going to start a K-pop group. We're not going to go through any of the K-pop training. We're not going to do anything related to K-pop. We're not going to sing in Korean. We're not going to speak Korean. Like, nothing. We're just going to call ourselves a K-pop group. Then you're not a K-pop group. You're just a pop group. Like, mainly because you're not even singing in Korean. Like, first of all. But then on top of that, I think it is, in a way, kind of disrespectful or even just off-put. Like, I don't know, if I was a K-pop idol and I put in all of these years, especially if I was one of those K-pop idols that was like in this for the like it took me 8 or 10 years to get here, or 12 years to get to where I am, to debut. And if I was if I was that person, if I was a K-pop artist or in a K-pop group, and it took me any amount of time, but especially if it took me a lot of time to debut, and I've been in this and I've been true to this, not new to this, and then to finally get the chance to debut and to finally be in a group and to finally, you know, be able to do what it is I set out to do, for someone, first of all, who's not even Korean, none of which are Korean, if we're gonna go that far, but for someone who's not Korean, who doesn't speak Korean, who doesn't plan to sing in Korean, and who has not gone through any training of any sort, and who decided to call themselves a K-pop group, that would piss me the fuck off, honestly. Like, for lack of a better word, because I just feel like it's just so not okay. Like, my vocabulary is not that great, but that is just like some not cool shit. Like, that would really irk me. So for groups that do that kind of stuff, that really irks me. And for those who don't go through any of the actual processes to become a K-pop group, like, you can't just put a group, like, that's like me going out and finding like 3 or 4 other girls who like K-pop, and then going and buying some colorful outfits and putting together a little 3 or 4 part dance and saying, oh, we're a K-pop group. Like, no, you're just a group, and you're barely even a pop group, honestly. So when I see people do that, that's irritating, and that to me is not okay. But to go to Korea, to go through all of the necessary processes, to go through the training, to go through the education and the learning of what you're participating in the history of it, and to immerse yourself in the culture and in the industry, I think is different. Now, also, I do think some aspects of the K-pop industry are toxic, but that's another conversation for another day. But all in all, people love K-pop, and people, you know, decide to experience K-pop on a regular basis because of the difference from the West. Like, so for you to just do all this other Western shit, but then call yourself a K-pop group, that's not K-pop, you know? But to me, this is fine. Now, on top of that, like I was saying before, I do think, because I heard that before I reacted to this, I did watch the teaser, and I was looking at the comments, and somebody was saying in the comments that the other black girl in RANIA struggled a lot because she was black, but she also didn't speak Korean, and people were rude to her, and nobody really gave her the support she needed to nobody really gave her the support she needed to succeed in Korea and in the K-pop industry. With that being said, I do think it's not smart to go to Korea to be in a K-pop group, but then to not either already know Korean or to be like intensely and intentionally learning Korean while you're there. Not to say that she wasn't, like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anything about Rania and I don't really know anything about her. But I do know I've seen some individuals say, oh my gosh, I want to be in a K-pop group. I want to go to Korea and try to be a K-pop trainee. Which is fine, but if you don't know Korean, if you haven't, and if you know like zero, like you didn't put in any effort to learn anything before you got there, I don't think that that's very wise either. So with that being said, I would hope that these non-Korean members and non-Korean speaking members, if they are non-Korean speaking, I would hope that they have started, I would hope that before they debuted, they would have started learning Korean and that they are intentionally and intensely learning Korean at the moment. So I look forward to seeing how that progresses over time and to see kind of like what their line distribution looks like, what their songs look like, what their performances look like, all that good stuff. So, I mean, but overall, I approve. I'm looking forward to it. They'll definitely be on my lookout list. But yeah, I mean, I had kind of a couple things to say if y'all didn't pick up on that. But thank you guys for suggesting this, for all you who suggested this in my comments. And so please leave some comments on this reaction and let me know what you thought, what you think about non-Korean members being, or non-Asian members even, being in K-pop groups. And give, just say hey if you want to. Let me know what you thought of the reaction. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. I could really have a conversation about this all day, and I'm always open to new perspectives. So with that being said, that's the end of this reaction. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next one. Peace.